Get up and share it with someone else. Okay? Tell someone else what was good this week. No, not the person you married to, like her relatives or whatever.
Okay. There's not a single Hanukkah song I can sing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Two. Okay, this isn't on very much.
Hello, hello.
Yours is on very loud.
Mine is on very loud.
Yes, I'm going to move yours down. 1, 2, 3. I don't. Nope.
Why did I take yours and you take
No,
mine?
It's okay, but people mess with us all the time.
Okay.
What number is yours?
Ignore the man behind. What number? I don't know.
Never mind.
My number's 10. Ignore the man behind the curtain.
One, 2, 3. Is that better? Too loud?
No, that's good.
Okay.
Mine's a little loud. It means I don't have to sing loud. Why don't we begin on page 128. We're going to do the first one, Hine Matov, and then we're going to go into Yedid Nefesh. Okay, I can ignore the one I did. Okay. I'm singing out through.
עיניים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יללי, 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 הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, יללי, 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 הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד.
Now, if you imagine Yedid Nefesh walking to the side of the mountain, and as you take a look, as the sun is setting, there's always something that moves. It's not just the sun going down, but often, especially if you're in the desert, you get to see things like wild deer and wild antelopes in a place you totally wouldn't expect. And it just gives you that moment of, oh, wow, because you're not in a zoo, and you're not watching TV, and you're not watching a movie. It's just one of those, oh, that's beautiful. That's the spirit in which this song was written. Yedid nefesh avarachaman, Yedid nefesh avarachaman, Meshoch avdecha, Eretz zonecha, Meshoch avdecha, Ya la 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 la, Eretz zonecha, Yahutz avdecha, Imu hayal, Yishtachav lai lai lai, Ya la 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 la, El mul hadarecha. Yedid nefesh avarachaman, Yedid nefesh avarachaman,
משוך עבדך אל רצונך, משוך עבדך אל רצונך. So please turn back to page 121 and 120. Tonight I'm going to talk a little bit later on about how to light Hanukkah candles and how to light Shabbat candles, and so we get to try it out now. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the lights of Shabbat. (126). I begin with a prayer of gratitude for all that is holy in my life. God needs no words, no English or Hebrew, no semantics and no services, but I need them. Through prayer, I can sense my inner strength, my inner purpose, my inner joy, my capacity to love. As I reach upward in prayer, I sense these qualities in my Creator. To love God is to love each other, to work to make our lives better. To love God is to love the world God created, and to work to perfect it. To love God is to love dreams of peace and joy that illumine all of us, and to bring that vision to life. 144.
יתקדש ויקדש שמך בה,
אמן.
בעלמא דברך חירותי, וימליך מלכותי,
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב.
ועמהו
אמן.
יהי
שמי רבה מברך, לעלם עולם מעלמיה יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה, ויתהלל שמי דקדושה.
בריחו
לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה,
תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמה. Amen. 146, please rise if you are able.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. 148. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam אשר בדברו מעריב הרבים, בחוכמה פותח שערים, ובתבונה משנה עתים, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם, ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב ערבים.
Page 150, the top of the page. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך, לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, ואורך ימינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגד יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. בהבטחה, אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאור על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
On 156, as we prepare to start Hanukkah, we will use a Hanukkah melody from Mi Chamocha. But for us as a people, Hanukkah stands second only to the Exodus in terms of our finding God's liberation, in finding the way out of an unbearable situation and what seemed to be an insolvable problem. What happened in the Exodus from Egypt gets reflected in a tiny group of Jews managing to defeat the Syrian army in the time of the Maccabees, and becomes for us a metaphor of finding light in the darkness. So as we thank God for the salvation from Egypt, we thank God also for the miracles of Hanukkah. All this we hold to be true and trustworthy for us. You alone are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You are our sovereign and Savior, who delivers us from oppressor's hand and saves us from tyrants' fists. You work wonders without number, marvels beyond count. You give us life and steady our footsteps. You perform miracles for us before Pharaoh, signs and wonders in the land of the Egyptians. You led your people Israel out from their midst to freedom for all time. When your children witnessed your dominance, they praised your name in gratitude, and they accepted your sovereignty. Moses, Miriam, and all Israel sang to you together, lifting their voices joyously.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nida b'kodesh, noha tehilot osi vele, noha tehilot osi vele.
Malchutcha ra'u banecha bokeh yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam. Ze Eli va'anu va'amru.
Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Did you want to do it? Sure.
Page 161. We'll start with the English at the very top, and then skip to the Hebrew on 160. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu Leshalom, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu Leshalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
162 at the top.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. Once again, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם.
כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ.
ושמרו בני ישראל
את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם.
וביום השביעי שבת, ויהי נפש, שבת, ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, ברית עולם. When the Maccabees sat on the side of the mountain, they looked out at the temple in Jerusalem. They couldn't go there. And they sat on a mountain opposite and looked and prayed that one day they would be able to go back. They wanted to be able to offer their prayers, which were their sacrifices, in the proper place at the proper time. And when they recaptured the temple in the month of December, they said, if only we had been here 2 months ago when it was Sukkot, the most important holiday of the year, it would have been wonderful. And they were so excited at what they had done that they actually tried to move Sukkot to December. And we have this in the book of Maccabees, which is not exactly in the Bible. It's a part called the Apocrypha, where they write to the Jews living in Alexandria, Egypt, and said, hey, listen, we recaptured the temple. We're moving Sukkot to December. And the Jews in Alexandria went, yeah, no, you're not. And they said, okay, well, then we're making a new 8-day holiday. And thus we got Hanukkah. Some 700 years later, someone said that a little cruise of oil had lasted for 8 days, and that's why we observe Hanukkah. That's a long time to have forgotten the story. And we actually know that that's not what happened. We know that the reason it's 8 days is because Sukkot was 8 days, and the Maccabees felt it was important to recreate that. Later traditions that did not want us to think of ourselves as warriors said, no, God made a miracle and made the little bit of oil last 8 days. But no, in fact, the Maccabees were just so incredibly happy to have been able to go back to pray in the place they were supposed to pray. And the Amidah, the prayers coming up now, are what the rabbis chose to replace the sacrifices. So these prayers that we say now are the direct descendants of the prayers the Maccabees said when they recaptured the temple some 2,200 and change years ago. Please rise if you're able. 164 and the even number pages.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha.
Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo Ve'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Tzara, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav le'Hoshia, Mashiv haruach u'morid haGashem, Mechalkel chayim v'chesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'al gevurot, Umidom elav
מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל.
אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. 174. Find favor, Adonai our God, with your people Israel, and accept their prayer in love. May the worship of your people Israel always be acceptable. God, who is near to all who call, turn lovingly to your servants. Pour out your Spirit upon us. Let our eyes behold your loving return to Zion. Blessed are you, Adonai, whose presence returns to Zion. Baruch atah Adonai, hamachazir shechinato l'tzion. 177. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha, ulecha na'eh lehodot.
Top of page 178. Shalom ha-Yisrael amcha,
tasim le'olam.
Shalom ha-Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol ha-shalom. Ki ata hu melech adon, lechol ha-shalom. Shalom ha-Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. Shalom ha-Yisrael amcha, tasim le'olam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה לשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. Bottom of 179, I love this reading. Don't stop after beating the swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating and make musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first. We continue silently with any of the readings on the next several pages or the words that each of us has in our own hearts. רצון, אמרחי רגיעון ליבי לפניך. Adonai Tzuhi, Tzuhi, Adonai Tzuhi, Tzuhi, Adonai Tzuhi, Ligo Ani.
Please turn to the middle of page 371. Before we join together in our prayer for healing, I ask you to think now of loved ones, of friends who are in need of healing. Healing of the body, healing of the spirit, healing of the soul. And please at this time, either say their names one at a time to yourself, or as I look around the room, say their names out loud.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So I'd like to talk to you about lighting candles, what with how much of that we're going to be doing during the coming week. And to start, I'd like to describe a situation which is at the least uncomfortable and possibly embarrassing for people, and I mean absolutely no insult to anyone. It happens. On Friday evening, when there's a bar bat mitzvah the next day, we invite the parents to come up and light the candles. And more times than I can tell you, a parent comes up, lights the match, touches the flame to the end of the wick of one of the candles, and it gaily burns down to the candle and burns out. And the person is sitting there going, what do I do now? As there are two dead, smoldering, wickless candles sitting there unlit. We encourage them to go at it again. I saw this years ago and started to say to people, please be aware that the way to light a candle is to hold the match by the wick, not until the first bit of flame starts, but until the candle starts burning. So you don't just burn the wick, you actually get the candle burning. So the match should be placed near the candle and held there for a while. How long? Until you see the flame get bigger. Because when the candle starts to burn, You have not just the little wooden match, but now you have the wax that has melted and is burning, and you take away the match, and the candle goes merrily about its way, burning the way it should. And years and years ago, I realized this was a really good metaphor for how to live Jewishly. Because when people come and do what a colleague of mine called drive-by Judaism, you stop and slow down and let the kids out of the car. You don't really come to a complete stop. Just let the kids out and you go. Or you come to a service once in a year and you go away and you go, I don't feel anything. Well, of course you don't. All you did was touch the candle to the wick, and the wick burned out in a couple of seconds, and you're done, and nothing happens. If you want the flame of Judaism to glow, you have to hold the match there. And for those of you who've studied with me in adult education or have taken a beginning Hebrew class, you know that we don't do mini courses. I've never quite understood, with the exception of a couple of really quick subjects, how you can do Judaism as a mini course. Because Judaism, by definition, is a maxi course. It is a way of living. And so if you want to get to know a subject, you can't just glance the match by it and expect anything to happen. It takes putting your elbows on a table. It takes leaning in. It takes studying. It takes learning. Now, that's not really popular today. Today, we want to know how fast you can microwave whatever it is we're doing. And I've found over the years that Judaism is really just not microwavable. Have you ever had microwave latkes? They're disgusting. They're terrible. They come frozen in a thing and you microwave them. And I think people in Kansas like them. These are also people who do not know what a bagel actually tastes like. But for anyone who knows it, the latke has to be cooked in oil until it's deep fried, until it's golden brown. We need to dig in to make Judaism work. And it's not a lecture. It's something that I've observed over and over again. And it doesn't mean that you have to do everything. But it does mean if you want this flame to glow, you've got to do something seriously. Whether it's study, whether it's prayer, whether it's tikkun olam, repairing the world. How many people have said to me, Rabbi, I went on a march and I worked really hard at it and nothing changed. And I said, right. How many years have you marched? What do you mean how many years? I did it once. The world doesn't change from one march. The world doesn't change from one effort at something. When we look at what Judaism offers us, Judaism asks us to wrap ourselves in it, to put it around us, to feel its embrace. Not a quick handshake, not a high five. The talit comes as the symbol of being enwrapped, enfolded in what Judaism is, what Jewish life is. And Hanukkah, even that, I found from my 7th graders, who are bluntly honest, that well over half of them said their families do maybe 2 nights of Hanukkah. The first night, and whatever night they have the family over. And the others like, so we're up to 7 now. Okay, cool. Even to understand Hanukkah, it means doing every night. And in the modern age, we think that things are quicker. Some things are just not. There are not 4 nights of Hanukkah. We do not get to the 8th candle and have it mean something to us until we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And yes, I could have said 1 through 7, but that's not the way we do it. We do 1 at a time. And each night it glows a little bit brighter. And then when we get to the 8th night, we go, wow, look at this. Look what we've done. Look how brightly, how beautifully the flames are burning. And so as we begin this Hanukkah time, it's not about what our neighbors are doing. I wish them beauty on Christmas. I wish them a wonderful time, and I love seeing all their lights. But for us, it's taking 8 nights in a row and lighting the candles on our small Chanukiot, one flame at a time, one candle at a time. We hold the match close to the candle. We keep it there until the candle can burn on its own, till its glow starts to add to the world. Our goal is not to burn a wick in half a second. It's to make the candles glow for a half an hour or an hour. And one of the most interesting laws in all of the Hanukkah celebration is that it is actually our obligation to sit in the room with the candles until they burn out. And by the way, the Hanukkah candles cannot be the only light in the room. Because unlike Shabbat candles, which we can use for illumination, you cannot use a Hanukkah candle to illuminate the room. There needs to be other light. A Hanukkah candle is completely and solely for decoration, for beauty. And so, to sit in the room, to share with family, to read a book, to watch TV, to stay in the room while the candles burn is once again the slow-cooked way of doing Judaism. What happens? A lot more light, a lot more warmth, and a lot more beauty than just lighting a wick. I wish you all a Chag Sameach, Chag Urim Sameach, festival of lights that is joyous and wonderful for us and for all the world. Shabbat Shalom.
Please join me on page 671. Light one candle for the Maccabee children, give thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. Light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. Light one candle for those who are suffering the pain we learned so long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, let anger not tear us apart. Light one candle to bind us together with peace as the song in our heart. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. What is the memory that's valued so highly that we keep alive in that flame? What's the commitment to those who have died when we cry out they've not died in vain? We have come this far, always believing that justice will somehow prevail. This is the burden, and this is the promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out. Don't let
the light go out. Together, we keep the flame alive. Page 586 in the middle of the page. Please rise together for Elena.
עלינו לשבח
אדון
לאדון
הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין עוד אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו ככתוב בתורתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום חשיבות אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. On page 590, we'll read the English to the indentation and then switch to the Hebrew. Let all who dwell on earth acknowledge that unto you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you, Adonai, our God, let them pay homage. Let them give glory to your honored name. Let all accept the yoke of your reign, that you may rule over us soon and forever. For sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory. As it is written in your Torah, Adonai will reign forever and ever. V'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu hieh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. So Hanukkah begins on Sunday evening. If you want access to all of the blessings and which candle goes where and all the other things you need to know, and Hanukkah songs, and most important, the rules for dreidel, you can find them on the TRT website, trt.org/Hanukkah. You got to figure out which spelling of Hanukkah we use, but basically that's it. Also, the weekly email that just came out has a link to it directly. Everything is there for you. You can find it all. Everyone, I see the new Hanukkah traditions, candles and iPhones glowing brightly as you light the candles, but they're all there for anything you need for that. Living here in Jersey, the home to Atlantic City, we should definitely participate in dreidel, which was the original gambling game. We had it long before resorts opened up. We were gambling with pennies and raisins and things like that. Next Friday evening is Rock Shabbat Hanukkah. The Rock Shabbat band will be here. It's a 6:30 service, a little bit early. We invite you, as always, to bring your own Chanukiah and 7 candles. We will have tables set up. Please be here at 6:30 if you want to light your own. Each one in your family is welcome to bring their own. We cannot have too many candles burning for that. So we invite you, bring friends, bring others to join us at 6:30 next Friday evening for that wonderful time. Near the middle of January, there's a note in the bulletin that you have here. We have our annual Eat, Pray, Learn, an evening of study and prayer and dinner all together. They are all free, But you have to let us know in advance you're coming. We ask everyone to bring either a side dish or a dessert. When you sign up, you get to say what you'd like to bring. But it starts at 6:30, and there is no separate service that night. The service is combined right in with the eating and the studying, hence Eat, Pray, Learn. So we loved it. We always have an amazing turnout, 60, 70 people come and join us. This year we're going to be talking about everyday Jewish ethics and how they can and should affect our lives. So please check it out in the weekly email, in this sheet that you have here, or just call the office and tell us how many people are coming. Love to see you for that. For those who are planning on going to the Women's Shabbat, the date was changed from January to the end of February. Information is also on the sheet here. And finally, for everyone who took part in the toy drive and clothing drive, the coat drive that we just did, thank you. Thank you, thank you. If you are on Facebook, you can look and see that we collected 40 huge contractor bags full of coats, hats, gloves, scarves, and toys. This year, the people noticed that almost all the coats were new, and that may be because everyone's already gone through their closets, but we had hundreds and hundreds of new coats, hats, gloves, scarves. Many of the hats and gloves and scarves were knitted by members of our community and members of our congregation and the Compassionate Hands group. And the toys, well over 150 toys were donated, which means 150 children will have presents on Christmas morning who otherwise were not going to have anything at all. And the last several days and especially nights have been very cold. And I ask you to think for a minute about the difference between having a coat in this weather and not. And, you know, as I said over and over, this is not to give someone a second coat or something to choose from. These coats all went to people who don't have coats. And we have made hundreds of people warmer right now, literally now as we're speaking. And so I'm so grateful to everyone who took part in this. We done good. Reverend Smalls was here the other day, and Shira and I helped her and others to load all these bags into cars. She's from a church in Trenton. Others went to the soup kitchen in Asbury Park, and others went to Freehold to a shelter there. And in every case, they've gone to people who really need them. So when you celebrate your own Hanukkah, think about the good you've done, because you've done good. And check out the pictures on Facebook, because they're really amazing. And I think that's it for announcements. Do you have anything else? We're good? Okay. We turn now to page 598. And before we join together in Kaddish, I ask anyone who is here for Shiva, for someone who died during the past week, to rise and say their names aloud. If you are here for Shloshim, someone who died within the past 30 days, please rise and say their names aloud. And if you are here to say Kaddish for Yartzeit or for any other reason, please rise and say aloud the names of the ones you're remembering. Hamakom Yinachem Etchem, Im Sha'ar Avlei Tzion Yerushalayim. May God console you among the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel and to all the world, to which we say, Amen.
Oseh shalom
Bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Please turn back to page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'charta, v'yotanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. So today is one of those days where if you would like to take some of the challah home, we would love you to. Justin will be happy to provide you with some plastic bags, so you can do that and make French toast tomorrow morning. Really, seriously, there's no one here that's going to have it. You're not taking it from anyone's mouth. We'd love you to take it home and have some.
And let's end on page 670. We're going to sing it in Yiddish. Can we sing in Yiddish? Or would you rather sing?
I'm good with that, but
Okay.
hold on a second. I need to finish chewing.
That's exactly why I don't eat.
I understand, but someone's got to. We did Motzi.
We'll sing it in English first, and then we'll get to the
So that's on
Yiddish.
669. And then the second verse on the next page is the Yiddish.
Oh Hanukkah,
Come light the menorah. Let's have a party.
We'll all
Dance the hora. Gather round the table. We'll give you a treat. Zivivon to play with and latkes to eat.
And while we are playing,
The candles are burning low. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. One for each night they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago. Hanukkah, Hanukkah, a yonta v'shener, a lustiger, a freilicher, nito noch a zener, alle Nacht in Gredel spielen mir, so die Kesalatkes essen mir, Geschwinder sind Kinder, die Hanukkah lichtelig on. Zogt alla nisim, le Gott for die nisim, kum kicher tanzen in kon. Zogt alla nisim, le Gott for die nisim, kum kicher tanzen in kon. My favorite line in that is, Leibt God for die nisim. We thank God for the miracles. Not just the Hanukkah miracle, although Dayenu, that would have been enough to mix metaphors. but all the miracles we see every day, every time we choose to look, the miracles that surround us, the miracles that are our lives and the lives of those we love, the miracles that are the lives of people we've never even met. Let God for the Nisim on Shabbat, on Hanukkah, and every day. Thank God for the miracles. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Happy Hanukkah.
Chag Sameach.